Have you ever been praised and insulted in the same sentence? Pause, someone says. Wow, you actually did a great job on that presentation. I'm surprised. And you're just left standing there with a weird mix of pride and humiliation washing over you. You feel confused, angry, and if you're being honest, you feel like you might be going a little crazy. You replay their words. Was that a compliment or a jab? The smile looked real, but the words felt like a slap. What do you even do with that? Say thank you. Confront them. Most of us just do nothing. We swallow that bitter pill of confusion and let it curdle in our stomachs. This isn't an accident. It's a weapon. And it's just one of several silent killers that are secretly poisoning your relationships, sabotaging your career, and turning you into the villain without you even realizing it. These subtle acts of hostility are way more common and destructive than we think. They operate in the shadows of our daily lives, cloaked in plausible deniability. They're the reason you feel so drained after talking with a certain friend, why you dread team meetings, or why there's a constant low-level tension in your own home. What if the harmless sarcasm, the missed deadlines, the stubborn silences, and the accidental screw-ups you're dealing with aren't harmless at all? What if they're targeted attacks? In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on this hidden war. We're going to define it, dissect it, and most importantly, give you the tools to disarm it. We're talking about passive aggression, a pattern of indirectly expressing negative feelings instead of just saying them out loud. It's a storm that never quite breaks, leaving everyone feeling off balance and resentful. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you won't just be able to spot these silent killers from a mile away. You'll also learn how to reclaim your peace and your power and stop being an unwilling participant in a game you never signed up for. Section 1. The what? Identifying the silent killers before we can fight back. We need to know exactly what we're up against. Passive-aggressive behavior is, at its core, masked anger. It's for people who, for reasons we'll get into, can't or won't express their frustration or disagreement directly. So instead, those feelings leak out sideways. They come out through actions and words that seem innocent on the surface, but carry a hidden, hostile payload. It creates a huge disconnect between what someone says and what they actually do, leaving you in a state of perpetual confusion. Let's name these assassins. Let's drag them out of the shadows. Here are the most common silent killers wreaking havoc in your life right now. Silent killer number 1, the sarcastic snipe. This is the one we all know and love to hate. Sarcasm is hostility, disguised as humor. It's the weapon of choice for people who want to land a punch, but don't have the guts to throw a direct one. The classic move is a cutting remark followed by, "Just kidding," or "Can't you take a joke?" This is designed to do two things at once: deliver the insult and immediately strip you of your right to be offended. If you get upset, you're the one who's too sensitive. Imagine you've spent weeks on a complex project at work. After you present, a coworker says, "Well, look at you, finally getting something done on time for once. Nicely done." That nicely done is just the sugar on a poison pill. The real message, the one you're meant to feel, is the jab about your usual timeliness. But if you call them on it, they'll probably say, "Whoa, I was just congratulating you. Why are you so defensive?" You're left feeling foolish and second-guessing yourself. In a relationship, it might be a backhanded compliment. You get dressed up for a date, and your partner says, "Oh, wow, you cleaned up nicely. I almost didn't recognize you." The implication, your normal look is unattractive. It's a comment designed to subtly undermine your confidence while looking like a compliment. Silent killer number 2, the procrastination ploy. This killer is all about using inaction as a form of control. It's a way of screaming no without ever saying the word. The passive-aggressive person agrees to do something, often with a smile, but then deliberately drags their feet, misses the deadline, or does the job so poorly it's useless. This is a way of punishing the person who asked and resisting their authority. At work, this is a productivity nightmare. You ask a teammate for data you need by Friday. They promise it by Wednesday. Wednesday comes and goes. You follow up. "Oh, so sorry. Got swamped. First thing tomorrow." On Thursday, you get a file, but it's the wrong data, or it's incomplete. By the time you get what you need, you're scrambling to finish your own work, stressed and furious. The procrastinator has successfully shown their resentment for the task or for you without a single confrontational word. At home, it's even more maddening. You and your partner agree they'll pay the bills this month. The due date passes. You get late notices. When you bring it up, the excuse is ready. I completely forgot. I've been so stressed. Or I thought you were going to remind me. When it's a pattern, it's not just forgetfulness. It's a way to resist shared responsibility and force you into the role of the nagger, which they can then resent too. It's a vicious cycle. Silent killer number 3. The silent treatment snare. This is one of the most punishing forms of passive aggression. It's the deliberate withdrawal of communication. This isn't about taking a healthy time out to cool down. It's about using silence as a weapon to punish and control someone, making them feel invisible. You have a disagreement with a friend. Instead of talking it out, they just stop responding to your texts. They ignore your calls. In a group, they act like you don't exist. The silence is deafening, and it's designed to make you anxious and guilty. You start replaying the argument, wondering what you did that was so awful it warranted total banishment. You're being controlled by their silence, forced to apologize, often without even knowing what you supposedly did wrong. In a relationship, this can be a form of emotional abuse. Your partner is clearly upset, but when you ask what's wrong, they say, "I'm fine," while slamming cabinets and sighing loudly. This forces you to become an emotional detective, guessing what they're thinking. It's a power play designed to make you so uncomfortable that you'll do anything to break the silence, usually by caving to their unspoken demands. Silent killer number 4. The sabotage of subtle inefficiency. This is the procrastination ploy's more sinister cousin. It's not just delaying a task. It's about actively, but subtly, making sure things go wrong. It's about making intentional mistakes, forgetting crucial info, or doing a task just badly enough that someone else has to fix it. Think of the colleague who books the venue for the company party. They book a place they know is too small or forget to confirm the AV equipment. When the event is a disaster, they feign innocence. "Oh no, I thought I confirmed that. The website must have been misleading." They've successfully sabotaged the event, maybe because they resented being given the task, all while looking like they just made an honest mistake. At home, this could be a partner who agrees to do the laundry, but accidentally shrinks your favorite sweater. When you bring it up, they say, "I'm just no good at this. You're so much better at it." This is a classic move to get out of an unwanted chore forever. By doing the job poorly, they train you not to ask them again. Silent killer number 5. The ghosting gambit. In our hyper-connected world, ghosting has become a devastatingly common passive-aggressive tool. It's the ultimate act of avoidance, where someone cuts off all communication without explanation. It's used to end relationships, romantic, platonic, or professional, without having to face the discomfort of a real conversation. You've been on a few dates, things seem great, and you have plans for the weekend. You text to confirm, ... and you get radio silence. You wait a day, text again, nothing. You check their social media and see they're active. You've been The silence is the message. I'm not interested, and I don't respect you enough to tell you why. It's incredibly painful and leaves the person on the receiving end with zero closure. While sometimes this can be a response to fear or anxiety, it's often a passive-aggressive way to express dissatisfaction while avoiding all accountability. Recognizing these behaviors for what they are, acts of covert hostilities, the very first step to disarming their power. Section 2. The why. The psychology behind the poison. So, why? Why do people resort to these destructive games instead of just saying what they mean? To figure that out, we have to look beneath the surface. This isn't about excusing the behavior, but understanding its roots helps you handle it more effectively. At its heart, passive-aggressive behavior is not a sign of strength, but of deep-seated fear and insecurity. It often comes from a mix of childhood experiences, personality, and an inability to handle negative emotions in a healthy way. The childhood classroom, where it all begins for many. The blueprint for passive aggression is drawn in childhood. Imagine growing up in a home where expressing anger was forbidden or punished. If every time you got angry you were told, "Nice kids don't get angry," or sent to your room, you learn a powerful lesson. Anger is dangerous, so you learn to suppress it. But that anger doesn't just vanish. It goes underground, looking for safer ways to get out. If a child sees a parent give the other the silent treatment for days, They learn that's how you manage conflict. The behavior becomes a learned survival mechanism. If you can't voice your needs directly, you learn to get them met sideways. This pattern, learned as a kid, gets deeply ingrained and carries right into adult relationships. The fear of conflict and rejection, at the very core of this behavior, is a profound fear of direct conflict. The person is terrified of what might happen if they were to state their anger openly. They fear being criticized, rejected, or abandoned. They think, if I tell my boss this deadline is crazy, I'll get fired. Or if I tell my partner that what they said hurt me, they'll leave me. To them, direct confrontation is a massive risk. Passive aggression feels like a safer bet. It lets them express hostility while maintaining that plausible deniability. If they're confronted, they can always say, I was just joking, or I forgot. Of course, this is a lie they tell themselves. In the long run, this behavior is far more corrosive to trust than one honest argument ever could be. The need for control passive-aggressive behavior is often a tool for people who feel powerless. When you feel like you have no direct control over your life, you might use indirect methods to assert some kind of dominance. Procrastinating on a work assignment is a way of taking back control from a demanding boss. Giving a partner the silent treatment is a way to seize control of the emotional atmosphere. This is especially true in situations with a clear power imbalance, like an office. An employee who feels unheard and micromanaged might not feel safe voicing their frustrations. So, they start forgetting to do things or making sarcastic comments in meetings. These are small acts of rebellion designed to claw back a sense of control where they feel they have none. Low self-esteem and insecurity underlying all of this is often a foundation of low self-esteem. People with low self-worth often don't believe their own needs and opinions are valid enough to be voiced directly. They may not feel they have the right to say no. This leads to a huge buildup of resentment. They agree to things they don't want to do, and all the while, their frustration just simmers. Passive aggression becomes the release valve. A backhanded compliment to a successful friend might be fueled by their own feelings of inadequacy. These behaviors are a distorted cry for recognition from someone who doesn't feel worthy enough to ask for it directly. The connection to mental health? It's also worth noting that while passive-aggressive personality disorder is no longer a formal diagnosis in the latest manual, the DSM-5, clinicians know the behavior pattern is very real. It's often linked to other conditions like anxiety, depression, and certain personality disorders. For example, someone with social anxiety might use it to avoid confrontation. This doesn't excuse the behavior, but it adds a layer of complexity and shows that it's often a symptom of a deeper struggle. Understanding these drivers is key. It shifts our view from seeing the person as a simple villain to seeing them as someone likely operating from a place of fear and pain. That empathy doesn't mean you tolerate the behavior, but it does let you approach the solution with a clearer head. Section 3. The how-to. Disarming the killers and taking back your power. Okay, so you know what it looks like and you know why it happens. Now for the most important part. What do you do about it? How do you stop being a victim and start building healthier relationships? It all starts with a shift in your approach. You can't change them, but you can change how you respond. By refusing to play their game, you change the rules for everyone. This isn't about fighting fire with fire. It's about being assertive, clear, and calm. This is how you disarm them. Here are 4 powerful strategies that actually work. Strategy 1. Identify and name the behavior without accusation. The power of passive aggression is in its deniability. Your first step is to drag the hidden message into the light. Do this calmly, focusing on the gap between their words and their actions. The goal isn't to start a fight, it's to start a real conversation. Let's say a coworker hits you with that backhanded compliment. I'm so impressed you finished that report. I know you usually struggle with deadlines. An assertive response names the dynamic. You could say calmly, I'm not sure how to take that. It sounds like you're giving me a compliment, but it also sounds like a dig at my past work. What did you mean? This is incredibly effective. You're not accusing them. You're holding up a mirror and asking for clarity. It forces them to confront the double message they just sent. Another example, your partner is giving you the silent treatment. Instead of pleading, you can say, I've noticed you've been really quiet tonight, and I'm getting the sense that you're angry with me. Can we talk about what's going on? Notice the I statements. I've noticed. I'm getting the sense. You're talking about your perception, not labeling their behavior. You're inviting a direct conversation, making their silent tactics unnecessary. Strategy 2. Set clear, enforceable boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of healthy relationships. And with a passive-aggressive person, they're non-negotiable. A boundary is a clear line that tells others what's acceptable to you and what will happen if they cross it. It's not a threat. It's a consequence that you control. A good boundary focuses on your actions, not theirs. You can't say, "You have to stop being sarcastic." But you can say, "If you use sarcasm when we're talking about something serious, I'm going to end the conversation until we can talk more directly." Let's go back to the procrastinating colleague. You've talked to them, but nothing changes. Time for a boundary. You could say, "To get my work done on time, I need your part of the report by Wednesday at 5 p.m. If I don't have it by then, I'll have to submit my section to our manager with a note that your part is missing." This isn't a punishment. It's a logical consequence. You're protecting your own work and letting them be responsible for theirs. In a personal relationship, if a friend is always late, a boundary might sound like, "My time is really important to me, and I feel disrespected when you're 30 minutes late. From now on, I'll wait 15 minutes. And if you're not here by then, I'll assume our plans are off and I'll get on with my day." This empowers you. You are no longer a passive victim. You have a plan and you're ready to follow through. Strategy 3. Refuse to engage in the game. Passive-aggressive behavior is a dance, and it takes two. One of the most powerful things you can do is refuse to get on the dance floor. Don't take the bait. When someone makes a sarcastic comment, sometimes the best response is no response. Just a neutral look for a moment before changing the subject. You're showing them their barb didn't land. You're not giving them the angry reaction they're subconsciously looking for. This is especially useful for the silent treatment. The goal of the silent treatment is to make you anxious. If you repeatedly plead and text, you're rewarding the behavior. You're teaching them that silence works. Instead, try to go about your business calmly. Be polite, but don't bend over backwards. Say once, "It's clear you're upset. I'm here to talk when you're ready," and then let it go. Read a book. Call a friend. This sends a powerful message. Your mood will not control my mood. I'm not responsible for managing your emotions. This tactic makes you a very uninteresting target for their manipulation. Strategy 4. Encourage and model direct communication. This is the long-term strategy. By consistently modeling clear, honest, and respectful communication, you create a safer space for the other person to maybe, just maybe, do the same. When you need something, state it directly. Instead of sighing loudly at the overflowing trash, say, "Hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed by the chores. Would you be willing to take out the trash?" And when they do communicate directly, praise them for it. If the person who usually gives you the silent treatment finally says, "I was angry because I felt like you weren't listening," resist the urge to get defensive. First, validate their directness. Say, "Thank you for telling me that directly. I really appreciate it. Now we can actually talk about it." By rewarding direct communication and refusing to reward passive-aggressive tactics, you are slowly retraining the dynamic of the relationship. You're showing them that it's safe to be honest with you. This won't work on everyone, but in relationships you care about, it's a powerful and compassionate approach. We started this by unmasking the silent killers in our lives. The sarcastic jabs, the missed deadlines, the icy silences. We've seen how these behaviors aren't just annoying quirks. They're weapons of indirect hostility that poison our relationships by creating confusion and eroding trust. We dug into the psychology behind it, the childhood conditioning, the fear of conflict, the need for control, and the deep-seated insecurity that fuels it all. We learned that passive aggression is a symptom of a profound inability to handle emotions directly. But most importantly, we lit a path forward. You now have a toolkit of real strategies, not to change them, but to change the dynamic. You can call out the behavior, set firm boundaries, refuse to play the game, and model a better way. You don't have to be the victim in this hidden war. You don't have to walk away from conversations feeling crazy. The feeling of constantly being on edge, of trying to decode hidden meanings, that does not have to be a reality. By recognizing the signs, understanding the motives, and responding with calm, assertive strength. You reclaim your power. You become the architect of your own emotional well-being. You teach people how to treat you. You choose peace over poison. You are no longer just a target. You are a force for change in your own life. These experiences we've talked about are incredibly common, but they can feel so isolating. I guarantee someone watching right now is dealing with a silent killer in their own life. Have you dealt with a passive-aggressive boss, partner, or friend? What's one tactic you've seen, or what's a strategy you've used to handle it? Share your story in the comments when we share our experiences. We don't just validate each other, we learn from each other. Let's build a community of support and a collective toolbox for dealing with this destructive behavior. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more deep dives into building a healthier, more empowered life.